is the question. Well, I'm just gonna go live and have a long introduction. So, what's Carol Baskin say? What's up, all my cool cats and kittens? Alright, well, I'm going into this. What's up, all my cool cats and kittens? Wait, I can't say that. Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of TREVANTINE, a podcast in which you hear the thoughts, feelings, and emotions of an 18-year-old senior being affected by the coronavirus. So, during this time, a lot of us have been binge watching the TV show Tiger King, a show that has swept the nation, swept the world, and now is, a worldwide phenomenon. And I feel like what better time to talk about it than now, right after they released the episode 8 that kind of let me down, and I think it let a lot of other people down. But in a Zoom call with me, I have a couple of my pals to talk about Tiger King and talk about just the whole wildness of the show. So what's up, guys? Would you like to introduce yourselves?
I'm Ben Swoboda, been on before. But
I'm Madison Gabbert. I've been on before in the very beginning.
My name is Erin Stevens. I've not been here.
So getting off your initial thoughts, what do you guys think of Tiger King?
Every single one of them is stupid. Even the people who claim to be right are all stupid and wrong.
I can agree with that one. I think it's a ridiculous story of finger pointing and stupidity. And at the first I thought one of the guys, Doc, was mildly normal. And then it's at the end, absolutely everyone is ridiculous.
Yeah, I watched it all and then I was like, oh, is this guy the good guy? And then I was like, no. I was like, is this guy the good guy? No. And then after watching the 8th episode, the workers are the good people. The people that run it are not good at all, but the workers are the good people.
Would you guys who was you think the workers are the best person to look up to, even with all their flaws they had?
Yeah. Because all the people running it are the ones making the real money and making the poor decisions. So the people working there, for the most part, all did it because they cared or because they actually enjoyed their job, with animals. So
yeah, they only did it because they liked the animals. They hated the people they worked for.
Yeah, and the part of the 8th episode that I watched, they were definitely a lot more willing to admit their faults too, even though they were the better person, I guess.
Did you guys have a favorite worker? The girl, I think the girl that had the guy that had his arm ripped off was pretty cool. Seemed pretty chill about that.
I like him, and I like Eric because he just doesn't care about anything or anyone.
He had cool hair. That's all.
Yeah.
Which one was Eric?
He was the one with the long blonde hair.
Oh, okay, yeah. And he is on episode 8, he was the one that actually had the cool studio behind him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of episode
8? I didn't even finish it.
Yeah, I haven't finished it. I started it, but
I watched it last night. A lot of people are don't like it, but I thought it was pretty good. It was a good seeing what everybody thought after they've already watched the whole show. I mean, it didn't have any the main people on it, but all the workers and stuff, you got to hear their opinions about the show and about Joe and Carol and everything.
Yeah, the workers seemed pretty genuine about it, but I think when they got to the Jeff and his wife, it just seemed like a whole nother finger pointing episode. There's just more and more of the, no, I didn't do it. No, it wasn't me. It was all them. They were the bad ones.
I like that it gave them not an ability to explain themselves, but to talk about what they felt. Because I read a lot of the stuff after they released the original episodes, that a whole bunch of people were misrepresented, and the guy without all the teeth, he got all of his teeth fixed, but then the people who were doing the documentary refused to put any of that in the actual documentary. like to make him look worse, or like to make him look like this like crazy hick guy or whatever the heck. So I like that it like provided more context and people were able to like talk about what they like felt about it.
Speaking
Yeah.
about that, do you believe in everything they said, or do you guys think it's like it was tailored to tell a more exciting story?
I think by nature of it being on Netflix, it's been tailored to be more entertaining. Um, I think it's hard to see like where that would have been, but it's very easy to understand that like you could do something as simple as that as like just showing a guy shirtless without all of his fixed teeth kind of changes the way you see someone.
I think that like like not the characters, but the people involved like told what they believed to be true, but the documentary was obviously like made so that people would like be more invested in the story and everything like that. It was probably more dramatic than it actually was.
Yeah, I think that's why I like the 8th episode so much, because like in the documentary they were like making it to look how they wanted it to, but in the 8th episode they were just letting them all speak whatever truth they wanted to. So I like being able to hear like what their thoughts and opinions are without them like manipulating their words.
Do you guys think the documentary did like a good enough job of trying to persuade people into like the animal rights side, like the preservation of these animals?
I don't think it really did that at all. Like it just seemed like more of a look how ridiculous this part of the world is, and let's just expose that. It did not at all seem like a push for animal rights at all.
That's like what I was saying about earlier. Even the people who were supposed to be in the right are still crazy. Like Carol makes the whole like that whole community that cares about animal rights look absolutely insane. Like all of them are like it made all of them look crazy. So like even the people that were supposed to be caring about animal rights, it still made them look insane as well. It probably didn't necessarily help the situation as much as it could have. But that would have made it less like exciting and less like dramatic. So
Yeah, I agree with that. And like them exposing that like a tiger is only $2,000, and that whole meme was made about, oh, let's buy a tiger because it's only $2,000. Like that's definitely not helping the situation.
like all the like I follow a lot of like conservationists and like stuff on Instagram or whatever, and all of them were talking about how like it like spread awareness for the fact that stuff like that happens, and like it spreads awareness that like the harms of it that people might not necessarily think about, but also it also spread awareness for the fact that there are just like dozens of places all over the country you can just drive up and like meet baby tigers. So like on one end it probably increased like some awareness, but also on the other end it probably increased some people's like want or like drive to go to the places and like meet them, which obviously isn't good for the species.
I mean, if the zoo was still open, it's only like 2 states away. Would you guys have gone after seeing the show?
I would not. I don't want to get anywhere close to any of those people. Like, I think just seeing like the first maybe episode, I was like, this is kind of crazy and wild. Maybe I would want to go somewhere like this. Like, I didn't realize that it's Oklahoma. Like, that's kind of close to here. But it's like towards the end of the show, it's like I would never want to set foot near any of these people at any place.
Yeah, they kind of scare me. So they're just like that crazy. It's just like I don't want to be around that.
What'd you guys think of Joe's jackets?
They're fine.
The EMT one was just like, it was great for the situation that they were in.
Now, obviously, it was like tailored because he had that crazy egotistical manner in him, but like, do you think that that added to that scene?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like it kind of took the light off of, oh, his arm just got ripped off. And then it's just like, oh, he has an EMT jacket on. He is not qualified for that.
Yeah.
And
I don't think anyone asked him to wear that jacket.
Yeah.
And then adding the whole scene in there, I will never financially recover from this. And then that also becoming a meme just changed the whole aspect of the situation.
Do you think if it okay, so if quarantine never happened, do you think the show would have blown up still?
I think
Yeah.
it would to some extent, but I mean, also some people probably watched it because they have nothing better to do. So it still would have been like popular, somewhat.
Yeah, I think it would have been popular, but it's so ridiculous right now in the sense that the reality it portrays is so different from our current reality. And it's kind of like we're all stuck inside doing nothing. And to see this piece of the world where everyone's doing absolutely ridiculous things is so entertaining in this moment that I think it got way more popular than it ever would have.
Now, by the end of the series, did you guys kind of feel for Joe, or did you think he got the retribution he deserved?
I felt bad for the fact that a lot of people who he thought he could trust, like, threw him under the bus and like he couldn't trust them. Like from a personal aspect, I feel kind of bad just because like that kind of sucks. But like also he was kind of a bad person, so like he kind of deserves it because like animal abuse and all that kind of stuff. But like also, yeah, it's like kind of just because like his friends or the people that he liked or the people that he trusted like broke his trust and like threw him under the bus and then testified against him in court. But also he kind of did deserve it because he is like a bad person.
Yeah. I think I might have felt bad for him if he had ever at any point had a change of heart and been like, I can see where I went wrong. I did all of these things that were horrible. But he always seems to take the position of, I can't believe you said that. I'm going to go after you. And it's like now he says that he claims that he's working with PETA to destroy all these other people that he hates. But I don't know. I feel like he's just never will admit fault.
Yeah, I felt bad for him, like just watching the series. And then, like, as it went closer, like how bad he treated the animals. And like they explain it in the 8th episode, like how, like what he did to different animals there and like how bad he treated them. Now I don't really feel bad for him because he kind of deserves to be in there. I mean, not saying the other people don't deserve to be in there, like Doc and Carol and them. Like they definitely deserve to be in there too. But like Joe messed up and he also deserves to be in there.
What did Doc
The
do?
Walmart truck was the most ridiculous thing.
Doc, he basically takes women and like
Okay.
keeps them
Yeah,
in
yeah.
horse pens and like he barely feeds them and yeah.
The Walmart truck thing? Like getting the old meats?
Yeah, that was funny. I mean, like it's a good use, I guess.
It's a good use case, but it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't think that using meat that would otherwise be thrown away is a good use?
Well, I mean, at one point he talked about like putting it on food that he gave people.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot all
He
that one.
used it in his pizza restaurant.
So like using it to feed animals, that was good, like less waste or whatever the heck. But like feeding it to humans, probably not smart.
Yeah.
Do you think the journalist guy kind of hyped him up and gave him that ego? Like he obviously had an ego before, but giving him that outlet, do you think that amplified his ego?
Yeah, probably.
I think like the producer guy like didn't hype him up. He saw like Joe saw that as an opportunity to hype himself up. So like the producer guy was only there because of Joe, but Joe saw it as an opportunity to be like extra and like do all this stuff. So I think it was more Joe than the producer.
So you know the jet ski guy, right? Hold on. I first, what was up with that scene?
I feel
I think
like
it's pretty funny.
he's trying to make himself look more righteous. I don't know. And they were just like, "What do you want to do?" And he's like, can we get a jet ski? Can we please get a jet ski?"
Yeah, I think the guy probably thought it was super epic, but
Yeah.
I think the people filming it knew that it was
Yeah.
did not make him look epic.
That felt like one of
That's
those.
a little
Like,
weird.
what do you want to do for this scene? And he was like, I'll look really badass on a jet ski. And they were just like, okay, all right.
I feel like once that scene happened, the show kind of like jumped the shark. In my opinion, I just thought it went off the rails more than how it's already been. You know?
Yeah, I think that last episode, it lost me on so many levels. I was so confused about how we jump from finger pointing to one person to the next, and then how you end up with this guy who thinks he's like the righteous man in the end, and he's talking while he's on a jet ski. It just seems so ridiculous.
And the end of that episode, that guy said he had some more clues towards Jeff being a bad guy to like incarcerate him. What possibly do you think that Jeff could have that could put him in jail?
I feel like nearly anything he does could put him in jail, honestly. But at the same time, like the show was mostly set like in 2015, and I think the end of their timeline is like 2016, 2017, if that. I feel like if anything was going to happen, it would have happened in the last 3.5 or 4 years.
I don't necessarily know exactly what would have happened, but I mean, he was like doing all the same things as them. Like he got involved doing the same things. He was, like running the place for profit. And I mean, he worked with them. He gave them money and bought things from them and all that. So I don't necessarily know like exactly what would have happened, but I mean, he got caught up in all the same things as them, and he had the same like motives that they had.
Yeah, and I know he was like a main part in like figuring out the whole killing Carol like situation. So that was probably one of the other things. Like I heard somewhere on the show they said like he was more involved than Joe was in like setting everything up and getting convincing people to do stuff. So I mean, I feel like he could also go to jail for that. Just the same thing Joe went to jail for.
Yeah, I think he like also had a play in like the plot to kill her, but he didn't get in trouble, at least to the extent that Joe did, because really everyone was kind of like against Joe.
I think it was because he was like working with the feds, like the jet ski guy was. So he had immunity, but he was also like actually setting it up rather than just pretending.
Do you think Jeff Lowe went into Joe Exotic's like business with the intention of taking it over?
Definitely.
Probably. He probably recognized that he was like relatively unstable and would have to leave at some point.
Yeah, I don't know why he would rent a mansion and try and put up a facade for the first time he meets Joe if he wasn't trying to like infiltrate.
Yeah. He definitely went in there knowing he had control over Joe, so like he just kind of took over everything.
So, do you think this is the last we're going to hear of Joe Exotic for a while? Or do you think something's going to come out pretty soon? More information.
I mean, they were talking about it in the 8th episode, like, Joe keeps on trying to get these like appeals in jail. That's probably not the right word, but like he keeps on trying to go back to court and like blame all these other people for like doing stuff and trying to get them to go to court. And like John Ranke said in the 8th episode, like they were talking about the pair of pants he had to wear because he never wears pants. And he says, not going to be the last time I have to wear these pants because Joe's going to make me go back to court. So he's going to keep on trying to like do stuff. And they're probably going to make another part to the documentary of like all of the court stuff that has to go on.
Yeah, like he cares enough about like just being seen in the public, like he talked about like during the documentary, like his like he really just cares about like having attention. I feel like he's definitely going to like continue to like cause problems. And if that whole thing with PETA happens, if he ends up getting a bunch of people in trouble with PETA, then that will give him some credit.
Yeah.
Now, do you think PETA should have gotten involved a lot sooner?
PETA tried to get involved a lot sooner, but they like the problem with PETA is that everyone hates them because they're PETA and they're crazy. So like they like the same thing, like Carol had like the website against Joe or whatever. PETA had that same thing. Everyone just hates PETA because they're psycho. So whenever PETA tries to get information, like it's just really hard for them to get information like that. So like they like cared about it, but they couldn't have really done anything. It's really hard for PETA to do stuff because no one listens to them.
Yeah, kind of like whenever you signed my email up for PETA notifications.
Whenever Ben and I put you on the PETA email list, yeah.
Yeah, and I got PETA like stamps and like stickers delivered to me.
Hey, Ben gave me your address. I didn't know your exact address. That was all Ben.
I wasn't the one who gave the information to PETA. I gave the information.
Ben told me your address, and then I gave the address to PETA.
That was pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie, but it happened. So do you guys think Joe will be released, or do you think he'll die in prison? Because everyone in that show was like, "Oh, Joe's gonna die in prison."
Well, how old is he?
He's like late 50s.
Late 50s?
Yeah, he was like 55 whenever he went to prison.
He got less than 30 years. How many?
He got 22
22.
years.
Oh, I bet he gets out.
Joe Exotic's 57.
If he only got 22, I bet he gets out. So he'll probably get out early. Everyone gets out of jail early. Usually gets out of jail a little bit early.
If he gets out, even as like a 70-year-old, he's gonna have some ridiculous press in those last few years.
What'd you guys think about all of Joe's husbands?
That was just funny.
They're all like each person that they covered was like so manipulative and had their own cult of personality. It was just like manifested in a different way. Like Joe had his young husbands that he kind of like entrapped in this zoo, and Doc had all the women in like this cult scenario, and Carol has all of her shirt people in like the various rainbow colors. It's like they were all leading a cult of their own kind, and Joe's just happened to be young teenage boys who he turned into husbands.
I feel bad for him because I mean, like most of them had some. I don't know about like the current one. I guess we didn't get too much about him, but like all of them had, like specifically Travis had like some type of issue beforehand, and I mean that's how like cult leaders get people to join. Is like they promise people things that they're missing out on. So Travis like was already like I guess like struggling to find purpose or whatever, and he had like a drug thing, and I mean like he gave him unlimited drugs and like let him be happy, I guess, because like they were talking about in the documentary, they don't think like any of those people were actually gay. They just like wanted the benefits that came with him, which like for some people, depending on how sad you are and how desperate you are, you'll like sacrifice like kissing this man every once in a while so that you can have unlimited drugs. So like I feel bad for them more than anything. And like whenever Travis like killed himself, I think it was pretty evident that like he wasn't, it was I think it made it pretty evident that it was like a cult type of situation and that he joined because he thought he was going to get some type of benefit, but in the end it ended up just hurting him.
Do you think Travis's suicide was purposeful or not? Because they talked about how a Ruger won't shoot without a clip, and it did.
I definitely think it was an accident, but like he was definitely in the mindset that like he didn't really care if he died, because during that time he was talking about how like Joe won't let him leave and like how he won't like supply him with his stuff anymore. Like he genuinely wasn't happy, but like he didn't mean to kill himself in that moment.
Do you think there are like other zoos out there that are doing the same things that weren't covered in this show?
There are like there are like roadside zoos everywhere.
Yeah, I feel like at one point they showed a map of just like the places they had sent tigers, and there's no way all of them are private individuals.
I mean, like even like big zoos, obviously they didn't really talk about it because then they'd get in trouble. But like big zoos, like popular zoos, who still like buy from not necessarily even Joe, but like breeders, like they're still contributing to the problem.
I didn't even know about these zoos until I watched the show. Here's the biggest question, the most elephant in the room. Did Carol Baskins kill her husband?
I feel like there is no way to know at all.
Yeah, during it, I was like, maybe not. I don't know. Like I think there's compelling evidence that she did, but also there's not really a lot of evidence in general. So I feel like just like thinking about motives or whatever, it is potential, but also I would understand if he like flew away somewhere, got a new identity, and is now living rich in some like Caribbean island. So like,
yeah, I mean, if he's going to Costa Rica constantly and he's a kind of semi-crazed millionaire who hops from woman to woman, I don't think it's that ridiculous that he just flies himself out into the Gulf and either gets killed or makes himself hidden. So I feel like there's not enough evidence to really say who or what killed him if he's killed. So it's just kind of like it lines up really nicely to say that Carol did it.
Yeah, and they only spent like not even a whole episode on it. Like that's something Netflix could have made like its own series, like not just inside everything else that's going on. So I don't know. Like there wasn't enough like stuff, like they didn't feature the entire story long enough for me to be like, oh yeah, she definitely killed him, or like no, she didn't. But like other people are super convinced, but I don't know. I'm just not that type of person.
On episode 8, they showed like each person that they interviewed. I think they asked the Carol Baskins question. I think each one of them said yes to it. Do you guys see Carol Baskins as this person, like a crazy person, or someone that has like right intentions, but just has a, I guess not poor manner, but a harder way of, expressing these feelings?
Okay, I've thought so much about this. As you know, my animal rights opinions are very strong. Carol is just as bad as the rest of them. She literally, what she has done is she said, "Oh, I want tigers," because she used to breed them. Like at the end, she was selling them, breeding them, all that kind of. Like at the end, it talked about it, how before they got started into this like rescue thing, they were still problematic. She's literally just as bad as them. She wants the tigers, but she's just not breeding them herself. So she's like, okay, all these people have them, they're breeding them, I'm just going to take them and keep them here. Like she's still getting the tigers. People still come to visit her. People still come and see them. Like I guess it's a little bit better because she's not like breeding them herself, but she's just like getting all of them from everywhere else. Like she still like is benefiting from it in some type of manner. So like I don't think she's as good as like I guess she like claims she is. So I guess she's rescuing them from like the people who are breeding them, but like she's still keeping them there. Like she's not like changing anything.
Yeah, I'm sure she feels righteous, but it's like they did very early on. They had that little bit where like Joe went down to visit, and even he was kind of saying that this zoo looks worse than mine. Like it doesn't feel like she's improved the life of these animals at all. So I feel like she has those intentions in her head and she thinks what she's doing is good, but it's like from the outside looking in, it just looks like she's one of the rest.
I think she's like making some type of progress because like I said, she's not breeding them, but like she's just like taking them everywhere else and putting them in her I guess like zoo that she has. She's not breeding them, but like they're gonna be continued to breed for at least a while, like from all the other zoos and all people that own them. So she's just taking them and putting them there. So I mean, she's still not necessarily like, I guess like doing amazing things. I guess it's better than breeding them, but it's still problematic.
And so tiger's only $2,000. Would you guys buy one?
That is unethical, Trevor.
I don't have the money to support a $10,000 a year tiger feeding operation.
Well, like, the problem is that like, so I know I talked about it a little bit in the 8th episode, but like the stuff you have to do in order to get those like animals once they hit a certain like size in order to listen to you and to like not attack you all the time are like awful. Like you would have the cub for how long? Like a couple weeks, and then you would not be able to handle it anymore, and then you just have to like kill it in order to like not have it kill you.
Well, I feel like most people would say they would buy a tiger. Just saying.
That is unethical.
It's totally illogical, Trevor. Where would I put a 300-pound tiger that will get to 600 pounds?
Just put them in your backyard.
You can be friends with Kevin, Ben. I think they'd like each other.
Yeah. That tiger would love Kevin.
Yeah, for food.
It would not last very long.
Well, guys, do you have any final thoughts about Tiger King? Any messages you want to get out to the world?
There's no good guy in this story. Like, no matter how much you watch it, except for the people that were actually for the animals.
Oh, what about the season 8 guy? The couch dude. Or episode 8.
The couch dude.
The dude that conducted the interviews.
He's just some weird pseudo-celebrity who
He's
thought he was
problematic too.
Wait, how's he problematic?
He's like making this massive dramatic, like he could have done so much for the world of animal rights in this situation, and he did not.
He was like making fun of people and trying to crack jokes and make it seem like this funny, ridiculous thing that he got to do, but it was just weird. It didn't work.
Yeah, it was kind of cringy. I'm not gonna lie. I know what you're
Like,
saying.
if I had the opportunity, I would do the exact same thing he did, but like from a person on the outside, might not. That's the thing.
Well, guys, I appreciate you guys coming on today. I guess we can only wait till another episode of Tiger King comes out. I'm not gonna lie, it was a very exciting and interesting show. It's you learn a lot about people, man.
Or they could make that movie they were talking about.
Oh, with Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
All right, wait, real quick. Who would be in each role? Like, who would be Carol? Who would be Joe?
Well, you have to get Hillary Clinton for Carol, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's
who
some
else-
like
who
white
else would
lady
fit?
who thinks they're really cool, but everyone hates them?
Sarah Palin. Sarah Palin would fit that.
What's that comedian? What's that girl's name? The comedian with the blonde hair who thinks she's funny, but she's not.
Amy Schumer.
Yeah.
Put
Perfect.
her
That'd be
as
fun.
Carol.
Yeah, perfect. She's weird.
Because of all the TikToks, you'd have to get Peter the pilot, Peter Weber, the Bachelor, to play Travis, just because of all the TikToks made how they look the same.
Oh no.
Who's the guy who got his legs cut off? What's his name?
John Rinke.
Yeah, he needs a cool. He's a cool actor.
Who would play him? Who's a cool actor?
He's the one that said Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I think that would fit. You just got to throw some more scenes of him racing cars in, though. And Matthew McConaughey just like sitting on the hood, staring off into the distance.
And then Saf said the guy that played Johnny Tsunami. I feel like that fits too.
Yeah, that does fit. In episode 8, I keep extending this, but that's good. We only have 5 minutes on the Zoom call left, but we'll make the most out of it. What was up with the hitman in the bathtub scene?
No idea.
I have no clue.
I think that's a ploy to try and show him in like a vulnerable sort of situation and kind of pull away from the fact that he is ready to kill someone at a moment's notice. But it just felt weird. It felt like those pictures of girls in bathtubs with milk. It was
So, like,
weird.
that could be part of it's probably to make him look a little bit silly, but like I feel like I could imagine him like asking for that to be where he's filmed, like the jet ski guy, where like he thinks it like makes him look really cool or whatever. Like I could imagine him saying, "I want to be filmed here." He's weird.
Yeah.
So,
The cowboy guy, the one with the hat, he's the one that like produced the show, right?
Yeah.
the TV show.
The reality show that never happened. That's what
Yeah.
he produced.
Oh, okay. Where is that show? Is that show like that's where all the footage came
That's-
from, right?
Got burned, yeah.
It got burned
That's
down.
the one that burned.
Which Joe did that 100%. Joe lit that place. on fire.
Oh, you think so?
There's no way he didn't. He literally said he was going to.
Yeah, that whole conversation with the lawyer he just goes, "What kind of protection do you have on that building, Joe? You know what I'm saying?" And he's just like, "Yeah, I got it. We'll find someone who wants 10 grand."
There's no way he didn't light that place on fire. He knew that there's so much stuff that could get him in trouble in there.
But then again, still, I don't know how they have some of that footage from like 2010, 2012. Like, I don't know how they have some of that footage that like supposedly was some of the footage that like burned down.
I imagine like he probably had the producer probably had a very minimal amount of it like with him,
Yeah.
like, on like equipment, whatever.
I think
Like, also, the people who were filming the documentary worked on it for like a long time. Like it was
Yeah.
like multiple years of the documentary. So.
he had clips of like cell phone video of himself being like, "This guy's ridiculous." But I think also like he probably had his own laptop that he kept with him everywhere that had some stuff because he was talking with networks about trying to get it picked up. So he had trailers and he had extra clips. So I don't think everything was in that room, but I think most of it was.
What other backdoor stuff do you think definitely happened, but the show couldn't like quite put blame on anyone? don't know. In my opinion, I feel like that the entire show, it painted someone as the bad guy. You know, like it made you think one way.
I mean, I don't know.
There's so many like conspiracies you
All
could
of it.
draw, or like pointing a finger at a different person. I feel like that was the whole point of the show.
I feel like enough crazy stuff happened that like just about every single crazy thing that happened was probably planned by someone because they're all so crazy.
Yeah.
And like Doc or whatever, like his place got raided. It said at the end, like at the very end of 2019. I feel like he probably did some bad stuff. I mean, all like it talked about during the thing. Like, there's no way to make it economical in order to like have all those tigers and keep them their entire lives. Like, once you can no longer like make money off of them, like they don't have like if you look at the size of the facility, there's not enough room to like keep hundreds of adult tigers. Like they're going somewhere.
Yeah, I never understood how Joe had 212 tigers in that space.
And same thing with Doc, because like there was like the accusation that he was like killing them. There's the accusation that Joe was killing them. 100% they were killing them. Like I said, there's literally just no way to make it like economical. You can't like sell the adult ones. You can't sell adult tigers to like. Well, I mean you can, but like it's significantly more difficult to like transport them and everything.
Yeah, and they talked about that in the 8th episode, like how many tigers he killed and like what he did to like other animals too. That like really made me like, oh wow, he's a horrible person.
Which sucks because I think he like at the like towards the end of the documentary, it showed like had like clips of him saying like Joe saying stuff that were like pro animal rights, I guess, or whatever, and talking about how he actually had like a good message and a good reason to start the thing, but I think it just ended up becoming really problematic, and then that's where all the issues came from.
Yeah, the producer said like in the very end of the 8th episode, because he was the very last interview, he said Joe was like terrified of tigers and like he was terrified of all those animals because like the ones like I don't know what one he was talking about, but like one was like blind and one was like mentally disabled, and like it was two he like did him with like a promo with or something that he got like right up close with, but like I don't know, he said he was just terrified of the animals, so he didn't really like I don't know, he didn't like actually want the animals. Like he did want the animals, but like he didn't have the interaction with them that he should have been able to.
So he just kind of did it for clout. Oh, well, yeah, that was all my Zoom time. Sadly, Zoom only gives you 40 free minutes of a Zoom call, and I really haven't found a better way to video interview people yet. So I guess that's the end of our Tiger King segment. You know, I've tried Skype before. Skype doesn't work too well. I don't know. It's difficult to do this, so maybe I'll have to figure out another way to have unlimited Zoom call time. But yeah, Tiger in the end, I guess we can all come to the conclusion that Tiger King is a bizarre show about bizarre people and the reality in which many of us don't see. I'm getting texts from Ben, Madison, and those guys. Ben said the Zoom just went Zoom. Madison said she said he just did it for clout, period. And then that was a nice ending, laughy face emoji. So yeah, that just happened. I apologize for the Zoom call to end. That was the first time I've ever had Zoom to just close on me like that and not let me. Somewhere I read that they were going to have unlimited Zoom calls, especially during quarantine, for all members, but I guess that's not the case. Zoom, if you're watching this, would be very, very nice, and I'd appreciate it a lot. But oof, my bad. So yeah, Tiger King, if I had to rate the show on an interest level, like to keep you hooked and just like what happens in the show, give it like a 9 out of 10. Out of the people, I'd give them like a 2 out of 10. But it's definitely something you should watch. I'm not gonna lie, I resisted a little bit because I didn't want to hop on that hype train. I'm not a huge hype train kind of guy, but you know, once I found out that the show's crazy, I was like, okay, I'll watch it, and I started watching it. And plus, all the memes didn't help. Carol Baskins and Joe, just the whole personas these people have is probably the biggest issue that we see with these people. So yeah, in the end, Tiger King, interesting show, very bizarre. If you haven't watched it yet, go watch it. If you're still watching it, finish the show. Would I recommend episode 8? Not really. Episode 8's definitely something you can watch. Just maybe it's something to do when you're folding laundry, you feel, and that's when I watched it. But yeah, now we can get to the next segment, and we talk about today's headlines. So this is from the New York Times as of 30 minutes ago. We find that business leaders and the CDC warn the economy will recover slowly, even if the pressure grows to reopen it. I mean, that's obviously going to be true. If we lift all our restrictions and then everyone goes back to work, there's going to be another spike in this coronavirus. Then what's going to happen is then people are going to have to be quarantined again, and then the economy is just going to slowly trickle back in. Not everyone's going to get their jobs back as soon as the quarantine lifts. I know in my prom episode, me and Bren were arguing a little bit about that, and I just didn't understand why not everyone would have their jobs back. But now that I see that, like millions of people are jobless right now, and that a lot of people are shutting down, it's going to be a big thing for people not to have jobs anymore. Another headline underneath this says a major meat plant is closing indefinitely, and the chief executive warns about the supply chain. So this of course, I open up all my I pre-open all my tabs, and then I click through it to see to read them and read up to you guys, but they always never close because Chrome does that RAM thing where it holds the tab, but you have to refresh it whenever you click on it. Sorry, that was a quick rant. But it said Smithfield Food said on Sunday that its plants in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, one of the world's largest pork processing plants and factories, would remain closed indefinitely at the urging of the governor and mayor after 293 workers tested positive for the coronavirus. Now imagine that 293 people that are packaging and processing your meat had the coronavirus, and now that's going around the United States. I mean, I assume they had gloves on. I assume they have masks on. I assume they washed their hands. I don't know. I still get a little uneasy about thinking about people being sick, handling my food. That's something you think about going to the grocery store, man. Thinking about who's sick, who's touching my apples before I grab the apples. You're supposed to wash the apples, and yeah, now I actually wash my apples before I eat them. Before it was like I'll run them underneath the water and just chomp into them, but you start thinking and start worrying about the coronavirus a little bit more. Next headline we have is Trump publicly signals his frustration to Fauci. Dr. Anthony Fauci, what he was talking about is on Twitter. There was some hashtag going around that's time to fire Fauci, and his rejective criticism on the initial response of the pandemic that has killed now more than 200,000 or 22,000 Americans. Yeah, apparently Trump has been notified of this a lot sooner before, and he could have done stuff earlier and he didn't, and now this is why people are very, very, very upset, and I would be too if my family members were passing away because of something that could have been prevented. But I'm going to keep preaching the same thing I'm preaching, is that you can't just point the finger and get mad at people all the time. Do something to stop it. Just action mean more than just not doing anything. Next headline we have is a study involving the chloroquine, whatever, is stopped over concerns of fatal heart complications. That was the drug that Donald Trump was tweeting about, telling everyone that it could be used to help the coronavirus. But apparently there's going to be fatal heart complications that come from the drug, so that's no bueno. Next headline we have is a stalemate in Congress over interim emergency aid seems likely to continue. When you have two sides in a divided house like that, that's going to happen, because we see in the Senate, lawmakers did not attempt to approve the administration's request for an additional $250 billion for a loan program, which would have required a unanimous approval of 100 senators without a full chamber present. It said on Thursday, Democrats blocked such maneuver to infuse $250 billion loan program known as the Paycheck Protection Program, which would include an additional funds as well as conditions to ensure the loan money is distributed fairly to small businesses. I don't know. Government and money is a huge thing because a lot of people don't want their government fiddling in with the economy and doing something to help stimulate it, but other people have other views. It's tough because a lot of these small businesses are struggling during this time, and whenever you have a divided government like this, the biggest issue is just going to try and have these bills passed, and allocating where the money goes is going to be the hugest thing, the biggest thing to see what happens and how this continues on. Next headline we have is that tornadoes and a virus are a 1-2 punch for the South, killing 18 people. It was happening in Mississippi, where Mississippi was having a bunch of tornadoes, thunderstorms, and then alongside coronavirus. That's just tough, man, because it's hitting people left and right, and they don't know what to do. And then the next headline, last headline we have, is a sailor assigned to the aircraft carrier Theodore Roosevelt has died from coronavirus complications. So this was that case where we had the aircraft carrier that had all the sick and infected people on it, and people are starting to feel those effects. So like I said, it's kind of like a can of soup. And that's what a boat is. Actually, it's more like a hot tub, where everyone's just kind of like in the same place and occupying the same space. And, it's tough because if you have an entire boat, a ship full of infected people, you can't just all take them off and then have them go back home, because then they're spreading it everywhere else. But it's also, it kind of seems inhumane to just keep them on that boat and have them suffer. This is why we need a medical cure soon. Figure something out now sooner than later. But that was all of today's headlines today. Now we can talk about what I'm doing today. Today I woke up at 7:20, felt super refreshed, but at the same time I also am super unmotivated to do anything right now. I just have no motivation to do anything, and I really don't want to do anything. This podcast started a little late. I apologize. It's just that thing of procrastination, I had nothing but free time this morning because I woke up, I made a breakfast burrito. I didn't go on my run today. I'm going to go run later because I woke up, checked my phone, and checked the weather. The weather outside, it was it was 28 degrees this morning. And I was like, no way am I going to go run in that. So I'm just going to wait until about 3 p.m. or so. Around 3, it's going to be about 48, 46. So that should be a little bit warmer, and I can wear pants and a sweatshirt and not want to die. So I didn't work out this morning. I kind of feel it, whenever it's in your routine and in your schedule to work out every day at a certain time, it kind of, you feel it when you don't. And I've been one of those people that feel horrible if I break my schedule, especially right when this quarantine first started happening, and I missed out on my workout and started missing out on my gym workouts, because I used to wake up at 5:30. I would go to the gym, and I'd be there from 6 to 7:15, 7:30. And once that stopped, I started feeling it. I'm not gonna lie, I still kind of feel it. I do the most with what I have. I have a bunch of resistance bands. I've been running a lot more, so hopefully the cardio's good. It also gives me a chance to kind of just to reset my metabolic rate and just reset my my whole bodybuilding program, because I guess I've always looked like a Dorito chip. I've been bigger up here, and then I've had no legs, but I guess I can just work on those a little bit more, especially with the calisthenics I've been doing. And it's just a lot of trial and error, especially with the working out. But yeah, I've been running a lot more. I really just lost my train of thought, I'm not gonna lie. But you just gotta keep on going, keep on rolling through, and working out. But hopefully I turn around my procrastination. I finished one of my ELA assignments. I have nothing to do in calculus today, nothing to do in physics. This online learning stuff isn't doing great. I feel alongside all the seniors having senioritis, I feel a lot of the teachers are having senioritis too, and they just don't want to do this online business anymore. I have a timed essay to do, which I could do that, bang that out in 40 minutes or whatever. And but besides that, I don't think I got a lot else to do. And that's the beauty of online school. When I was talking to Bill about this, online school takes about 25 minutes really maybe an hour, 2 hours. If you do what I do, like on Mondays, I've been just grinding out all my homework and doing it all. So the rest of the week, I can just chill and play video games. And that's like all I've been doing, man. And it's a great way to live by. But yeah, that was today's episode of Trevantine. I hope you guys enjoyed. Tiger King, fantastic, crazy, insane show. Definitely one to watch. Oh yeah, yesterday I watched 2 great movies. I watched Shawshank Redemption and Doctor Strangelove. Pretty good movies. I've never watched those before, and I'm glad I did because very compelling stories, and it was unique. Maybe I can go review them tomorrow or something. But yeah, that's been today's episode of Trevantine. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is going to be the way it is for a while. Keep washing your hands, and until next time, I'll catch you guys on the north side. By the way, I'm going to keep saying that because I have no more KNET, and I'm very sad because KNET was my favorite part of the day, but I have this show now. So catch you guys on the north side.